Welcome back to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I am so glad you're here. It is premiere day. That's right. If you didn't know, Sister Wives season 19, a brand new season, a brand new slam-packed season full of drama, emotions, and all the things. Sorry, that was my husband texting me. He loves me. Anyway, an all-new season starts, begins, premieres this coming up Sunday, September 15th, exclusively on TLC at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're gearing up. We're ready. That is today. Today is September 15th. OMG, we're here. It's finally premiere day. Now, I found some interesting reaction videos over the past few weeks that Gwendlyn posted last year. She was reacting to not only early seasons of the show, but seasons like season 17, where Christine and KODY called it quits publicly. Yes, ma'am. Well, look, you about to hear Robin this coming up season talk about KODY don't know who to blame, himself or the other wives. Now, I brought up the fact that why are you looking to blame somebody to begin with? That's very telling that you're looking to blame. But anyway, Gwendlyn didn't mince her words back last year when she clearly blamed KODY for any and every falling out that has happened in this family. Now, child, I went ahead and clipped it for y'all, okay? In case you missed it, you're welcomes. Go ahead and like and share, subscribe, and meet me in the comments below.
I'm going to be recapping my experience, which I consider to be pretty unique as a queer autistic woman, and especially as a subject of reality television show for this season 17, episode 6 of Sister Wives. Like, this was such a long time ago, but like, it's just too bad all of these people have faith, and it's like, no, this is never gonna happen. They're done for. With 2 or 3 days, that's excessive. Well, not excessive. They should actually be able to be around their father as often as they want, but there are a ton of us that are like missing out on it. I'm a comedic genius. I look so like mad in that moment, and I like wasn't even upset. I was just like, oh, I was a little disappointed, you know? I thought we were going to talk about like the divorce, and all of a sudden they're like, we're going to talk about your sexuality, Gwendlyn. We're going to, like, they're like, oh, we have another queer. We're going to exploit that. It did feel weird. They also had me talk about my autism here too. I was like, that's weird. I thought we were going to talk about my parents' divorce. I dislike our father more than she does. They first asked me, I was like, I'm proud of her. I'm happy that she's leaving. Good for her. And Tim was like, that's a bad response. Tell me how you really feel. I was like, I guess I'll miss her. True, we were being supportive. Oh, he's totally bullying her. I think it's his own fault that he didn't try to find her a better place to live. If he was so upset about her living at this RV, then he should have tried harder to give her a better place to live. And he really has no right to complain. I think it might have been a safer conversation for her to just have with my mom rather than also with my father. It's not fair of him to blame it on my mom when he's the one that's not showing up. I'm probably the worst one in the situation because I complained all the time about how my dad hadn't showed up. Like, whenever he would mention anything about Noelle not recognizing him or feeling different, I would always be like, well, you're not here ever, so it's definitely not my mom. It was most likely, if anybody was feeding information to her, it was probably me. Either way, it's not her fault. It's not my fault either. It's Dad's fault. Talking to him during this time was probably so difficult because he just seems like he's just blaming and blaming a lot. It's over. It's so hard not to binge this, honestly. I'm excited to see, or I'm nervous to see the conversation that my mom and my dad have about truly finding out that they're divorced. I haven't seen that yet. I don't think I even heard about it. That's going to be really scary to watch. I'm like a little scared now about how he's gonna talk to her because I've gotten a lot of people reaching out to me. People are saying that it gets harder and it gets worse, and I'm like, this is already the toughest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not fair of him to blame it on my mom when he's the one that's not showing up. I'm probably the worst one in the situation because I complained all the time about how my dad hadn't showed up. Like, whenever he would mention anything about Noelle not recognizing him or feeling different, I would always be like, well, you're not here ever, so it's definitely not my mom. It was most likely, if anybody was feeding information to her, it was probably me. It's not her fault. It's not my fault either. It's dad's fault. It's dad's fault. It's dad's fault. Like, talking to him during this time was probably so difficult because he just seems like he's just blaming and blaming a lot. It's over. It's so hard not to binge this, honestly. I'm excited to see, or I'm nervous to see the conversation that my mom and my dad have about truly finding out that they're divorced. I haven't seen that yet. I don't think I even heard about it. That's gonna be really scary to watch. I'm like a little scared now about how he's gonna talk to her because I've gotten a lot of people reaching out to me. People are saying that it gets harder and it gets worse, and I'm like, this is already the toughest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I hope he doesn't accuse her of anything. And if he does accuse her of anything, it's either his fault that the thinking happened and he's just blaming her for no reason, or it's my fault because I complained a lot about him not showing up when we lived back in the Bader home before they actually like officially divorced. I complained about it so much. It was really excessive, and I, like, a lot of the time I'd be like, I don't even want to be around him. He doesn't want to be around me. One time he and I got in the weirdest argument about like Andrew Jackson or something. I was like, yeah, weird president, weird guy. I think he did the Trail of Tears or something. I don't remember. Whoever it was that did the Trail of Tears. I was like, that was a really messed up guy. And dad was like, you're a terrible daughter. Why would you say that? He was an amazing president. And I was like, okay. And then he yelled at me and ran out. And so I start crying. I'm like, why doesn't my father love me? And my mom's just sitting there, like, probably after already having decided that she's going to divorce him. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry that you don't have a really good relationship with your father. That was a lot of information. But yeah, I was probably the most verbal about him not being active in our lives. So if anybody's to blame, it's actually him. But if anybody's to blame about, like, talking about it, it's also probably him, but a little bit me. For that. So every episode, or every time I watch this, I like to answer the 10 most popular questions, most favorited questions, but my patrons have reached out to me and pointed out that they want to keep it to a Patreon only thing. So I'll be answering those questions, but that's going to be a Patreon exclusive content. If you want to go to the link in the description, you can find my Patreon or my link tree if you want to go through it that way, and you'll be able to join the Patreon and see all of the answers and all the things I've talked about. So the first one is from Charmaine Garnham. They ask, how do you and your siblings feel about the way your dad has spoken to your mom? And Janelle, it seems like he'd be happy to be in a monogamous relationship with Sabin only. I think it's rude. I think it's very rude and very selfish. And I definitely agree that it seems that he would rather be in a monogamous relationship, which is very ironic because he has been complaining a lot about my mom leaving. And overall, it's just rude. And if you want to be in a relationship with multiple people, you need to give them all the amount of attention that you give whichever one's your favorite, for example. Then Evelyn Ramirez Gomez asks, does your little sister truly have her room at Sabin's house already, and how often does she really see her dad? So about half the time that my mom and Tree visited, I feel like they went over to Robin's house, and I think most of the time they filmed her at Robin's house to prove that, like, my dad had some sort of relationship with her, but it wasn't really as often as it seems. If they included all of the content, she definitely hung out with me and with mom and other siblings a lot more often. And I don't think she had a room at Robin's house. I don't think it'd be necessary for her to have a room, but maybe she, like, slept with the kids or something. Care Bear asks, is Aurora a princess? I asked because she seems really confused about the bed situation, and I'm wondering if she has some sort of princess and the pea thing going on where she thinks everyone needs 20 mattresses and 20 duvet toppers. I think with the bed situation, she genuinely might have just thought that the dogs were getting their beds, because there are about 5 beds in that one room where Savannah has. I doubt it was intentionally rude. To me, they didn't really seem like they were coming off as super rude, but maybe they were just happy that they didn't have to live in that kind of situation that Savannah was living in. But I don't really think it was specifically for the intent of being rude. Pam Schultz has, I think, 4 questions. I'm just gonna, like, put them all into, like, however many questions. Well, I'll count it later. It probably doesn't matter. So Pam Schultz, we've seen Truly at Sabin's house. That is a popular name. I'll have to look more about that. We've seen Truly at Sabin's house once on the show. Has she been there more? And it isn't being shown. So I answered this question earlier, so I think I'll just take that one off. Basically, she been there, but it's not often, like, at all. Like, yeah, my mom's complained about it a bit.
Again, this is probably why Gwendlyn isn't allowed to post on behalf of Sister Wives anymore. That's just my thoughts and opinions. Look, I'm not discrediting nothing Gwendlyn is saying. In fact, that's why I'm replaying it and reacting to it, because I think it's truthful, very valid, and it's her feelings. Her feelings should be taken into consideration and are very important. She is a child of KODY Brown. She is telling us how she feels. She literally is blaming him. And it's sad that she's sitting here, you know, you could tell she feels neglected. I mean, hey, if you're a kid and you feel neglected, hello, you have feelings about it, you shouldn't be silenced. That's horrible for people to be like, shh, you don't need to speak. I think that's what Gwendlyn was told. Now, by who? You could just imagine. Would love to know what y'all think about all of that. It's also sad that she's blaming herself. But she did say a lot about, she was very vocal about her dislike about KODY to her mother, Christine. And she thinks that played a role in Christine leaving. But, I mean, hey, there's a lot of things that played a role into Christine leaving. The main factor being this one right here, Noodlehead, that we're looking at. Cooter Brown. Let me hush before I get too petty about it, okay? Don't forget, Sister Wives Season 19 premieres today. That is Sunday. Today. Sunday, as Al Roker would say. Y'all, it's coming. It's here. Season 19. Exclusively on TLC, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to like and share this video, and also meet me in the comments below, as well as subscribe if you're new here. Don't forget to subscribe, because I got a slam-packed full episode rundown and recap coming up tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. I love you for watching. I'll see y'all in my next video.